The most humiliating moment of Claire's life happened over a birthday cake that was already supposed to be in the trash. The wind cut through her coat like frozen needles as she pulled Lily closer and hurried down Lexington Avenue beneath Christmas lights she could not afford to enjoy. Manhattan looked beautiful in December if you had money. Gold lights wrapped around trees. Couples carrying glossy shopping bags. Horse carriages rolling past luxury hotels while tourists laughed into paper cups of hot chocolate that probably cost more than her weekly lunch budget. But beauty looked different when your checking account had $11.23 in it. Lily's small hand tightened around hers. "Mommy, are we close?" she asked softly, her voice muffled by the pink scarf around her mouth. Claire forced a smile even though her feet ached from 10 hours at the diner. "Almost, baby." The bakery window glowed ahead like something from another world. Golden cakes sat behind spotless glass beneath warm hanging lights. White frosting, chocolate curls, bright red strawberries arranged like tiny jewels. Lily stopped walking just to stare. Her breath fogged the glass. "They're pretty," she whispered. God, that whisper nearly broke Claire completely. Tomorrow was Lily's 6th birthday. 6 years old, and her daughter still thought looking at cakes through a window counted as part of celebrating. Claire swallowed the lump in her throat and pushed open the bakery door. Warm air wrapped around them immediately, carrying the smell of sugar and cinnamon and fresh bread. For one dangerous second, she let herself pretend she belonged somewhere this soft, somewhere this warm. A young employee behind the counter smiled politely. "Welcome." Lily's eyes widened at everything. The chandeliers, the glass displays, the rows of cakes lined up like artwork. Her gaze lingered on a small vanilla cake covered in pink frosting roses. $89. Claire's stomach tightened. $89 might as well have been $8,000. She checked her phone again, even though she already knew the number. 11:23. Payday was not until Friday. Rent was overdue. The car needed brakes. And Lily had outgrown her winter boots 2 weeks ago. Claire bent down beside the clearance fridge near the back corner, pretending to study labels while her cheeks burned hot with shame. The employee approached kindly. "Can I help you find something?" She looked around first. Maybe humiliation makes you paranoid. Maybe poverty teaches you to whisper. "Do you still have any expired birthday cakes?" The words barely left her mouth. "The ones you throw out at the end of the night. It's my daughter's birthday tomorrow. She doesn't care what it looks like." That was a lie. Lily noticed everything. The employee hesitated awkwardly. "I'd have to ask my manager." "It's okay if you don't." "Really? I just thought maybe." Her voice faded. That was when she felt it. Not touched. Not interrupted. Just watched. The kind of attention that changes the temperature in a room. Claire turned slowly. A man sat alone near the back beside the rain-streaked windows, dressed in a black wool coat, so perfectly tailored it probably cost more than her car. Dark hair. Sharp jawline. Broad shoulders. Maybe 35. The kind of face people trusted until they looked into his eyes too long. And his eyes were on her. Cold gray blue. Calm. Focused. Like he had heard every humiliating word that came out of her mouth. Her pulse stumbled. The employee suddenly straightened beside her. "Mr. DeLuca," he said quietly. The name rippled through the bakery staff like electricity. One worker nearly dropped a tray in the kitchen doorway. Another lowered his head and disappeared into the back. The man stood slowly, and the entire room changed with him. He was not loud. He did not have to be. Power like that never begged for attention. It expected it. His gaze moved toward Lily for exactly 1 second before returning to Claire. Something unreadable flickered across his face. Not pity. Somehow worse. Recognition. Like her exhaustion reminded him of something he wished he had forgotten. Then his deep voice broke the silence between them. "How much?" he asked calmly. "Is every cake in this store?" Nobody moved after he spoke. The bakery fell into a silence so complete you could hear the soft hum of the refrigerators and faint Christmas music drifting from hidden ceiling speakers. "Sir." The employee blinked twice. Adrian kept his eyes on Claire. "I asked how much." Smooth. Controlled. That somehow made it worse. The manager appeared almost instantly from the back office, wiping nervous hands against his apron. "Mr. DeLuca, there is no need for that. We can simply prepare something special for the lady and her daughter." Lady. Claire almost laughed at that. Nobody had called her a lady in years. Not while she cleaned coffee stains off diner boots at 2 in the morning. Not while balancing overdue bills at her kitchen table with Lily asleep beside her. Every cake, Adrian repeated. Tonight. The manager nodded immediately. Of course. Claire should have left then. Any smart woman would have. But Lily was still staring up at the cakes with wide eyes, completely unaware that the atmosphere around them had shifted into something tense and strange. Mommy, Lily whispered, tugging her sleeve. Who is he? Claire crouched beside her fast enough that her knees popped. Nobody we know, baby. But that was not true anymore. Because now she knew his name. Adrian DeLuca. Even the employees reacted to it like it carried weight. Like people lowered their voices around it automatically. The kitchen workers moved with visible tension. 2 black SUVs sat parked outside at the curb beneath falling snow. Men in dark coats stood beside them watching the street. Watching everything. Claire felt suddenly underdressed in her thrift store coat and worn sneakers. Like she had accidentally stepped into somebody else's world and stained it just by standing there. Miss, the manager said carefully, would you and your daughter like to choose a cake? Heat rushed into her face. Oh no, that is not necessary. It is already paid for, Adrian said before the manager could answer. Claire looked at him directly for the first time then. Really looked. Tall, broad shoulders beneath black wool. Not handsome in the soft movie star way. Sharper than that. Controlled. Like every expression had been trained not to reveal too much. But his eyes stayed on her with unsettling focus. Gray-blue. Cold until they landed on Lily. Then something inside them shifted. Not warmth exactly. More like memory. You do not have to do this, she said quietly. I know. The way he said it made something tighten in her chest. Not arrogant. Not flirtatious. Just certain. Like helping people was unfamiliar to him, but deciding things was not. Lily pointed timidly toward the pink cake with frosting roses. That one is pretty. Claire grabbed her hand too quickly. No, sweetheart. We cannot take something that expensive. Adrian slipped one hand into his coat pocket slowly. A birthday cake should not feel like a financial decision. Claire hated how close those words came to breaking her. She straightened fast. I appreciate the gesture, but I am not asking for charity. For the first time, his expression changed slightly. Barely, but enough. Like she had said something unexpected. No, Adrian said softly. You were asking for leftovers. Shame hit harder hearing someone else say it out loud. Claire looked away before he could see tears building in her eyes. But Lily reached for her hand again, her tiny fingers cold. Mommy, she whispered carefully. Can we please have the flower cake? The room stayed silent waiting. And somewhere beneath the sound of snowfall against the windows, Adrian DeLuca was waiting too. The last time somebody had bought Claire something without expecting something in return, her mother was still alive. That thought hit her so suddenly she could barely breathe around it. Lily looked up with those enormous blue-gray eyes that always made Claire feel like the worst person in the world whenever she had to say no. The pink cake sat inside the glass display glowing beneath warm lights while snow drifted softly beyond the bakery windows. Adrian said nothing. He stood watching her with that impossible stillness. No impatience. No pressure. Somehow that made it harder. Men who wanted something usually rushed you. But Adrian DeLuca looked at her like he already knew exactly how humiliation felt. Claire swallowed hard. Say thank you, she whispered to Lily finally. Lily's face lit up so fast it physically hurt to see. Thank you, she gasped toward Adrian with the kind of pure happiness adults forget how to show. Something shifted in his expression. Tiny, barely visible. Like her excitement caught him off guard. The manager hurried to box the cake while employees moved with nervous efficiency. Tissue paper, ribbon, extra pastries slipped quietly into bags. Nobody asked permission. Nobody asked questions. Claire stood there exhausted beyond pride. Adrian stepped aside while the manager handed Lily the pink bakery box like it contained diamonds. She hugged it against her chest carefully. It is so pretty, she whispered. Claire reached for her wallet automatically, even though she already knew it was pointless. Adrian's gaze dropped toward the worn leather in her hand. The corners were cracked. One zipper barely worked anymore. Embarrassment crawled up her throat instantly. Keep it, he said calmly. For her boots. Claire's head snapped up before she could stop herself. What? His eyes lowered briefly toward Lily's feet. The soles of her tiny winter boots were separating near the front. Claire had glued them twice already. You do not know anything about us, she said too quickly. No, he replied softly. I know enough. That should have irritated her. Instead, it made something dangerous flicker in her chest. Because nobody had noticed things about her life in a very long time. Not the landlord. Not her manager at the diner. Not the father who disappeared before Lily learned how to walk. Survival made people invisible. But this man looked at her like invisibility offended him somehow. Outside, snow was falling harder now. Thick white sheets swallowing the city block inch by inch. "It is getting worse outside," Adrian said. Claire tightened her grip on Lily's shoulder. "We will be fine." He studied her for one long second. His eyes drifted toward the thin coat she wore and the exhaustion she probably carried like a second skin by now. "You are shivering. It is December in New York." A faint, almost smile touched the corner of his mouth for less than a second. "You answer everything like it is a fight." Maybe because life usually is. Silence settled between them. Heavy. Strange. The kind that felt less awkward than honest. Lily carefully opened the cake box just enough to peek inside again. "Mommy," she whispered happily. "It has little sugar flowers." Her voice cracked something in Claire completely. She looked away fast before tears embarrassed her further. That was when Adrian spoke again, quieter. A child should never have to whisper for birthday cake. The softness in his voice startled her more than his power ever could. Because men like Adrian DeLuca were supposed to sound dangerous. Cold. Untouchable. But standing there beneath warm bakery lights with snow falling outside and Lily smiling over a cake they could never afford, he sounded like a man remembering something painful. Snow started falling harder the second they stepped outside. Lily walked carefully beside Claire, holding the pink cake box with both hands like it contained something sacred. For the first time in months, her daughter looked excited about tomorrow instead of worried about her mother. Claire hated that a stranger had given them that feeling. They reached the car parked halfway down the block beneath a flickering street lamp, already buried under fresh snow. Claire opened the passenger door for Lily first and carefully set the cake inside her lap. "Protect it with your life," she teased softly. Lily gasped dramatically. "I will." Claire walked around to the driver's side and slid into the freezing seat with a tired sigh. The engine coughed weakly the second she turned the key, then died. Her stomach dropped. No. She tried again. The engine sputtered harder before falling silent. Snow tapped softly against the windshield while panic crawled slowly into her chest. "Mommy." Lily's small voice sounded nervous. "Is the car okay?" "It is fine." A lie. Claire turned the key again. Nothing. Just a horrible clicking sound. Her eyes burned instantly because of course this would happen tonight. Of course. She dropped her forehead briefly against the steering wheel. "Please start," she whispered. Outside, headlights suddenly washed across the windshield. A black SUV pulled slowly beside them through the snow. One of the suited men stepped out first. Then, Adrian emerged from the back seat, snow settling across his shoulders while his sharp eyes moved once over the dead car before landing on Claire through the frozen glass. From 20 feet away, it was already clear he had decided they were not staying here tonight. "Your battery is gone," Adrian said calmly. "It is almost 10 degrees outside. You and your daughter are not staying here." Claire tightened her grip on the steering wheel. "We will call roadside assistance." He glanced once toward the empty street buried beneath snow. At midnight, during a storm? He was right. She hated that he was right. Lily leaned forward in the back seat, clutching the cake box against her chest. "Mommy, I am cold." Guilt hit Claire so hard it nearly made her dizzy. The heater had died the second the engine failed. Frost was already starting to gather along the corners of the windshield. Adrian stepped closer to her window. Not aggressive, just steady. "There is a hotel 3 blocks away. I cannot afford a hotel." His jaw tightened slightly, like he was growing irritated with hearing her say no to survival. "Then stop worrying about money for 5 minutes." "That is easy for you to say." Snowflakes melted slowly in his dark hair while the city glowed behind him. Expensive coat. Black leather gloves. Men waiting for his orders without speaking. Everything about Adrian DeLuca belonged to another universe entirely. And yet somehow he stood outside her dying Honda at midnight looking more patient than anyone had been with her in years. "Claire," he said quietly. The sound of her name startled her. She had never told him her name. Her stomach tightened instantly. "Relax," Adrian said softly. "Your daughter called you mommy 12 times in the bakery, and one employee used your credit card receipt to address you politely." Heat rushed into her face. "Right. You assumed danger too quickly. You arrived with 3 black SUVs. Something dangerously close to amusement flickered in his eyes. Tiny. Gone immediately. Fair point. Lily suddenly coughed behind them. A rough, exhausted little sound that changed everything. Adrian's expression sharpened instantly toward the back seat. How long has she been sick? She is not sick. Just tired. Another cough interrupted her. Adrian looked unconvinced. Then he quietly opened the back door himself. Every protective instinct in Claire rose. What are you doing? Checking her temperature. His voice stayed calm. Lily looked up at him without fear while snow drifted into the open car. Your cake is beautiful, Adrian told her quietly. She smiled shyly. It has flowers. I noticed. Then he placed the back of his hand gently against her forehead. The movement was careful enough to steal the breath from Claire's lungs. Men built like him were not supposed to move gently. Lily blinked up at him. You smell fancy. One of the suited men choked slightly behind him like he almost laughed and immediately regretted it. Adrian ignored him completely. Like the stores at Christmas, Lily added sleepily. Something unreadable crossed his face. Soft. Fast. Then Lily leaned sleepily against the seat, holding the cake box tighter. Adrian straightened slowly and shut the door. She has a fever. No, Claire. Firmer this time. Not cruel. Just impossible to argue with. You are exhausted. Your daughter is freezing. Your car is dead. This is not the moment for pride. Claire looked away because tears were threatening, and she hated crying in front of strangers. Especially strangers who looked at weakness too closely. Then Adrian stepped closer one final time and lowered his voice enough that only she could hear. You do not have to survive every single thing alone anymore. She should have said no. That was the part that bothered Claire later. Not the black SUVs. Not the dangerous-looking men standing silently in the snow. Not even Adrian DeLuca himself. It was the fact that after years of surviving entirely on instinct, some exhausted, broken part of her looked at that man and believed him when he said they would be safe. One night, he said quietly, "That is all I am asking." Before she could answer, Lily whispered weakly from the back seat. "Mommy, my head hurts." Panic overrode pride instantly. Her cheeks looked flushed now. Tiny curls stuck to her forehead from fever sweat. "Okay, baby. Okay." One of the suited men opened the SUV door for them. Warm air spilled from inside, carrying the faint scent of leather and cedar wood. Expensive. Clean. Safe. Claire hated how comforting it felt. Lily climbed in carefully, holding the cake box on her lap the entire time, like she was terrified somebody might take it. Claire slid in beside her, tense enough to snap in half. Adrian entered from the opposite side. The interior lights softened the sharpness of his face, but not the authority sitting naturally in his posture. The door shut quietly behind them. Snow vanished. Warmth wrapped around Claire's frozen fingers so fast it almost hurt. "Water," Adrian said simply. One of the men in the front passed back a glass bottle immediately. Adrian handed it toward Lily himself. Small sips. "Thank you," she said shyly. "You are welcome." The SUV moved smoothly through snowy Manhattan while soft music played somewhere low. Claire stared out the tinted window, trying not to think about how surreal this felt. 20 minutes ago, she had been begging for expired cake. "You are thinking too loudly," Adrian said suddenly. She looked toward him. "Excuse me." A faint trace of amusement touched his mouth. "Your face changes when you are angry. Maybe I am wondering if I accidentally got into a mob movie." The driver nearly smiled before catching himself. Adrian looked completely unbothered. "And what conclusion did you reach?" "That rich men with security teams usually come with complications." He nodded once. "Fair." Lily yawned softly against Claire's shoulder. The cake box tilted dangerously, and Adrian steadied it immediately before it slid from her lap. That carefulness again. Controlled strength down to the smallest movement. Lily blinked sleepily at him. "Are you famous?" "No. You look expensive." Adrian glanced briefly down at his coat before looking back at her. "That is probably the nicest insult I have ever received." She giggled softly for the first time all night. The sound changed something inside the SUV instantly. Softer. Lighter. And when Claire looked at Adrian afterward, she caught him staring at Lily with an expression so unexpectedly gentle it made her chest ache. Not because he looked powerful, but because for one tiny unguarded second, Adrian DeLuca looked lonely. The building Adrian took them to did not look real. The SUV turned beneath an iron gate that opened before they even stopped moving. Snow covered the stone driveway, while warm lights glowed from enormous windows overlooking the city. Manhattan stretched behind the property like scattered gold beneath the storm. Marble floors gleamed beneath crystal chandeliers inside. Tall garlands lined the staircase wrapped in white Christmas lights. Somewhere deeper in the house, soft piano music played quietly enough to feel accidental. Lily stared upward with her mouth slightly open. "Mommy, this place looks like the movies." "It is just a house," Adrian said calmly. Lily blinked at him. "No, it is not." One corner of his mouth moved slightly before disappearing. A woman in her 60s appeared from the hallway almost instantly, elegant in a dark green sweater dress, silver hair pinned neatly back. She stopped the second she saw Lily holding the pink cake, then looked at Adrian with unmistakable surprise. "Sir, Maria, prepare the East guest suite and call Dr. Bennett." Claire's stomach tightened. "We do not need a doctor. Your daughter has a fever. Children get fevers. Children also deserve treatment." Maria stepped closer gently, her warm brown eyes landing on Lily with immediate softness. "Oh, sweetheart, you are freezing." Lily studied her carefully. "You smell like cookies." Maria laughed quietly. "That is because I made some an hour ago." Lily gasped softly like this woman had just revealed magic. The guest suite upstairs was bigger than Claire's entire apartment. Cream-colored blankets, floor-to-ceiling windows, fresh flowers near the fireplace, a bathroom larger than the diner where she worked. Lily walked slowly into the room, still holding the cake box in both hands. "Mommy," she whispered, "do rich people always live like this?" Claire swallowed hard. "Not all rich people." A soft knock sounded before Adrian stepped inside, carrying something folded neatly in his arms. Tiny pink pajamas. Maria sent these up. They belonged to her granddaughter. Lily's eyes widened. "For me?" He nodded once. "If you want them." She looked toward Claire first for permission before accepting them carefully. "Thank you." Adrian's expression softened almost invisibly. Then Lily looked down at the cake box and frowned slightly. "The flowers might get ruined if I sleep." Adrian glanced toward the bedside table immediately. "Then we should put it somewhere safe." Complete seriousness, like protecting frosting roses, had suddenly become an important matter. Standing there in a mansion glowing with Christmas lights, while one of the most intimidating men she had ever met carefully made space for her daughter's birthday cake beside a fireplace, Claire understood something terrifying. Adrian DeLuca did not treat kindness like weakness. He treated it like responsibility. Claire had forgotten what quiet sounded like until that night. Real quiet. Not neighbors screaming through apartment walls. Not sirens outside the window. Not pipes rattling like they were dying inside the walls. The silence inside Adrian DeLuca's house felt expensive. Soft. Protected. Lily fell asleep almost immediately after the doctor confirmed it was only exhaustion mixed with a mild winter fever. She looked impossibly small curled beneath cream-colored blankets, with frosting roses still safely waiting beside the fireplace. Claire sat near the edge of the bed for a long time, watching her breathe. Mothers do that when life scares them too often. They memorize breathing. Around midnight, Claire finally slipped quietly downstairs. The hallway glowed dimly beneath golden wall sconces while snow continued drifting outside enormous windows overlooking the city. Somewhere deeper in the house came the faint crackle of a fireplace. She followed the sound without thinking. Adrian sat alone in a dark sitting room near the back of the mansion, one arm resting against a leather chair while untouched whiskey sat beside him. The fire painted warm shadows across his face, softening some of the sharpness that usually made him look untouchable. He glanced up the second she appeared in the doorway. "Your daughter is asleep?" Finally, he gestured lightly toward the chair across from him. "You should sit before you fall over." "Do I really look that bad?" "Claire, you looked exhausted 12 hours ago." She should have been offended. Instead, she sat because her legs honestly hurt too much to pretend otherwise. The chair practically swallowed her. Everything in this house felt designed for comfort instead of survival. "Thank you," she said finally, staring into the fire. "For tonight. You've thanked me already. You bought my daughter a birthday cake and rescued us from freezing in a broken car during a snowstorm. Apparently, I feel repetitive." That earned the smallest exhale from him. Not quite laughter. Closer than she expected him capable of. Her eyes drifted toward the shelves lining the room. Books. Hundreds of them. History. Architecture. Business. Poetry. That surprised her. You expected guns? Adrian asked. Honestly, a little. A faint trace of amusement crossed his expression before disappearing into something more thoughtful. People usually see what they expect when they look at me. The fire cracked softly between them. Claire studied him carefully then. The controlled posture. The expensive watch reflecting amber firelight. The stillness in the room whenever he moved, even slightly. Men like Adrian were not born ordinary. They were built through pressure, through expectation, through surviving things nobody discussed out loud. Lily likes you, she admitted quietly. His eyes lowered briefly toward the fire. Children usually do not. That is not true. It is. Certainty, like disappointment, had repeated itself enough times to become fact. You are good with her, Claire said softly. Adrian looked away toward the windows where snow covered the city in white silence. I do not know how to be good with people. That one hurt more than it should have. Because in that moment something became clear about Adrian DeLuca. It was not that he lacked kindness. It was that somewhere along the way, life had convinced him kindness had to be hidden beneath power to survive. Well, Claire whispered gently. She thinks you are a scary angel. For the first time all night, Adrian actually smiled. Small, real, gone too quickly to fully trust. But, there. And seeing that expression on a man like him felt strangely intimate. Like witnessing something private he had forgotten to guard. Claire woke the next morning to the smell of vanilla frosting and the sound of her daughter laughing. For one confused second, she forgot where they were. Soft blankets. Warm sunlight across cream-colored walls. Silence instead of sirens outside the window. Then reality returned slowly. Adrian's mansion. The snowstorm. The cake. The strange, terrifying kindness of a man who moved through New York like a rumor people feared repeating too loudly. Lily's laughter floated through the open bedroom door again. Pure. Bright. The kind of sound children make when life has not disappointed them yet. Claire followed it downstairs barefoot. The entire house glowed gold beneath morning sunlight, reflecting off fresh snow. Christmas garlands lined the staircase. In the middle of the enormous kitchen, Adrian DeLuca stood completely focused on helping her 6-year-old daughter place tiny sugar flowers onto birthday cupcakes. Claire stopped walking instantly. He looked different in daylight. Dark gray sweater. Sleeves pushed slightly up his forearms. No security hovering nearby. No cold sharpness around his eyes. Just a man standing in a sunlit kitchen carefully listening while Lily explained why pink frosting tasted happier than white frosting. Mommy, Lily gasped the second she saw her. Mr. Adrian, let me decorate them myself. Adrian glanced up from the counter. Your daughter has very strong opinions about frosting. Because pink tastes magical, Lily informed him seriously. Apparently. He replied with complete sincerity. Maria appeared beside Claire carrying coffee before she could process what was happening. Real cream. Cinnamon. She looked back toward Adrian carefully. You really did not have to do all this. His eyes met hers across the kitchen. Calm. Steady. I know. The same answer as last night. But this morning it landed differently. Softer. More dangerous. Because it no longer felt like obligation. Lily held up a cupcake proudly covered in crooked pink frosting flowers. This one is for Mommy. Adrian studied the cupcake with complete seriousness. That one might win awards. She beamed so brightly it hurt to witness. Children should not look shocked when adults are kind to them. Claire. Adrian's voice pulled her gently from her thoughts. Your car will be repaired by this afternoon. Her stomach tightened. Adrian, it is already handled. I cannot repay you for that. His gaze held hers for one long quiet second. I did not ask you to. Silence settled softly between them while snow drifted outside the kitchen windows. Lily continued decorating cupcakes, completely unaware that something dangerous was unfolding in the room around her. Not fear. Something worse. Hope. The kind you try not to feel because losing it later might destroy you. Lily suddenly looked up at Adrian with frosting on her nose. Will you stay for my birthday song? The question froze the room for half a heartbeat. Maria looked down quickly. Adrian stared at Lily with an expression Claire could not fully read. Not shock. Not hesitation. More like nobody had asked him something so simple in a very long time. If your mother says it is okay, he answered quietly. Lily looked toward Claire with giant hopeful eyes. And somewhere between the pink frosting flowers and the warm kitchen sunlight, and the lonely man standing across the room pretending he did not care about any of this, Claire made a decision. Yes, she said softly. Please stay." They sang happy birthday in a sunlit kitchen with frosting on everyone's hands. Lily sat at the head of the table wearing the tiny pink pajamas, 6 candles glowing on the cupcake tower Adrian and Maria had arranged while Claire slept. She looked at those candles the way children look at things they have decided are miracles. "Make a wish," Claire whispered. Lily squeezed her eyes shut tightly for a long moment, then blew. Every candle went out at once. She gasped at her own success like it was the most astonishing thing she had ever accomplished. Maria clapped softly from the doorway. Even one of the security men standing near the hall cleared his throat and looked at the ceiling like something had gotten into his eyes. Adrian stood slightly back from the table with his hands in his pockets, watching quietly. But he was watching, and he was smiling. Small and almost private, the kind of expression that belonged to a man who had spent too long forgetting what ordinary joy felt like. Lily grabbed the largest cupcake and climbed down from her chair with sudden purpose. She walked straight toward Adrian and held it up toward him with both hands. "This one is yours." He looked down at her. "You decorated it yourself?" "It has extra flowers," she said seriously. "Because you were kind to us." Something moved across his face then. Too fast to name. Too honest to hide. He crouched down to her level slowly and accepted the cupcake with the same careful hands that had steadied a cake box in a blizzard the night before. "Thank you, Lily," he said quietly. "You're welcome, Mr. Adrian." She patted his arm once with small sticky fingers. "You can come to my birthday every year if you want." Claire pressed her hand to her mouth before any sound could escape. Adrian stayed crouched for a moment longer than necessary, eyes lowered toward the little cupcake in his hands. When he stood again, he did not speak right away. He looked toward Claire instead. Across the kitchen, through the warm morning light and the smell of vanilla and cinnamon and coffee. And the expression on his face was something she had not seen on any man in a very long time. It looked like the beginning of something he had stopped believing in. Later that afternoon, when the car sat repaired at the curb and Lily dozed in the back seat wrapped in her pink pajamas still clutching the last surviving cupcake, Adrian walked them out. The sky had cleared overnight. Manhattan glittered clean and white beneath December sun, the kind of morning that made the city look like it was trying to apologize for everything it had taken from you. He opened the car door for Claire without speaking. She stood beside it for a moment, not quite ready to leave the warmth of something she did not have a name for yet. "I don't know how to thank you," she said finally. "Then don't," he replied simply. "Just drive carefully." She almost laughed. "You really are impossible to read. You are doing fine." The corner of his mouth moved. "Better than most." Claire looked at him one last time in the clear winter light. Sharp jaw, dark eyes. A man who had learned to hide softness so well he had nearly lost it entirely. But standing on a snow-covered driveway with cupcake frosting barely visible on the sleeve of his coat, Adrian DeLuca looked like someone finally remembering he did not have to be only dangerous. "Merry Christmas," she said quietly. He held her gaze for a long moment. Something in his expression settled into something warmer than anything she had seen on him yet. "Merry Christmas, Claire." She drove away slowly down the stone driveway while the iron gate closed quietly behind them. In the rearview mirror, he was still standing there beneath the clear winter sky, watching, the same way he had watched them through the bakery window in the snow the night before, like something he had almost walked past and was only beginning to understand the value of. Lily stirred sleepily in the back seat. "Mommy." "Yes, baby." She rubbed her eyes with one small fist. "I think the scary angel is going to be our friend." Claire let out a long, quiet breath. The kind that carries more weight than it should. The kind you only let go when something you have been holding for too long finally loosens its grip. "I think you might be right," she whispered. And for the first time in longer than she could remember, Claire drove toward home without counting what she could not afford. Instead, she thought about pink frosting flowers and a man who smiled like he had almost forgotten how, and the strange and gentle truth that kindness sometimes arrives exactly when you have stopped expecting it. Some doors open in the most ordinary moments. A birthday cake you could not buy. A broken car in a snowstorm. A little girl who looked up at a dangerous man and saw something worth trusting. Not every story that begins in humiliation ends there. Sometimes it ends in warmth.